I'm Leah Chang. Welcome to Backstage Pass with Leah Chang. In this episode, I'm highlighting The World According to Micki Grant, produced by Woodie King Jr.'s New Federal Theater, with performances from May 31st to June 29th at the WP Theater, located at 2162 Broadway at 76th Street. Nora Cole, the director of the show, has adapted the work and music of Micki Grant, and the musical will take audiences into the personal realm of the iconic Micki Grant through her unpublished poems, lyrics, and written musings on love, politics, America, family, historical figures loved and lost. In addition to songs from Grant's award-winning works, including Your Arms Too Short to Box with God, So Nice to Be Civilized, and Working, the piece will feature music rarely heard. With Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope, Ms. Grant became the first Black woman to write the book, music, and lyrics of a Broadway musical. I've had the opportunity to see you perform, but I'm so excited. Now you're directing a project that you adapted, directed, and appeared in last year, The World According to Micki Grant. What drew you to this project?
Familiarity. When Liz brought the poetry to me, I recognized some of it, even though it's been unpublished. But Micki used to quote some of it, actually from her early collection of poetry when she was a child she wrote between the ages of 8 and 14. And knowing all the work that I had done of hers when she was collaborating with Vinette Carroll, which is how I met her. I met Micki through Vinette. Vinette came as a guest artist when I was in school, my last year at the Goodman School of Drama at the Art Institute in Chicago. And she said, well, when you graduate, come to the core. So I came to New York City. And the first piece I did was called The Ups and Downs of Theophilus Maitland. And of course, it was music, all of Micki's music. And it was a West Indian folktale. And that was the first project that I did. Being able to include so much more music, being able to include recollections of Micki from interviews that I researched, and being able to include my memories and conversations that I had with her, and conversations that I know that we had, and stories that she repeated a lot, that the things that stuck with her over all the years of her creativity.
Right. How old were you when you first met her?
I had to have been 23.
And what does she mean to you?
Micki means mentor, encourager, and strength. You know, Micki was a very petite woman that had nothing to do with her abilities or her strength and her pursuit of whatever she wanted to do.
Well, she was a pioneer for so many in so many different fields. I mean, she was the first woman for books, lyrics, and score of a Broadway show. She was the first African-American woman to have a contract on a soap opera for a leading role, for a leading role. And she was the first woman, not Black woman, but the first woman to win a Grammy Award.
For the score of a Broadway musical.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the story she tells about getting that contract role on becoming Peggy Nolan on Another World. She said she had been on the soap off and on a lot, and they liked her, but as any actor would do, you go and do other jobs.
Yes.
Well, they would call on her, and her agent would say, well, she's not available because she has other jobs. And they were not happy about that. And so finally she said, tell the agents, just tell them, well then, you know, give me a contract. And they did. It's a
big deal to manifest what you want, right?
It's
if you don't tell people.
And Micki repeats that a lot in interviews about dreaming what you want first. You got to dream it, you got to dream big, and then you have to do the work and pursue it and visualize it. She was very big on that. So I met Vanette my last year of school at the Goodman School of Drama at the Art Institute in Chicago. They brought her in as a guest artist, and she said, well, when you graduate, come to the Corps. And she was talking about her theater, the Urban Arts Corps, which at the time was down on 20th Street between 5th and 6th. So that's what I did. I came to New York, and within 2 weeks, I was doing a show, rehearsing a show down at the Corps with Vanette, and it was a West Indian folk tale called The Ups and Downs of Theophilus Maitland, which Micki wrote the music to. And that was my introduction to Micki and New York and the Urban Arts Corps. And I always say that the group that I came in with, we were the last batch of Corps kids, because there were generations before us that came through Vanette from Cope and even before Cope.
Right.
But Jeffrey Anderson Gunter and Reggie Vell Johnson and Marilyn Winbush, Julia Lima, Neville Richin. I think Faye Hauser was in that production. Beverly Weedman, Brenda Braxton. Yeah.
So many heavy hitters.
So many heavy hitters. And Micki talks about how, and it's true, even before I came, this was a little loft on a 3rd floor in Chelsea. And the space would just be electrifying, the way Vanette would put it together, and the music and the tiny space and the musicians and the dancers and actors, and we would rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse until Vanette felt like she was ready to show it to the public, not a minute before, and then we would open and we would present. But that was how I met Micki, through Vanette. And actually, when I came to New York, Box was about to open also.
Oh, okay.
So that combination, they were still, you know, heavy collaborating then. I think about 5 or 6 shows that I did with Vanette were collaborations with Micki. And I worked with Vanette for 15 years.
Wow. Would you consider her someone that set you on your directing path?
Yes. Yes. Vanette could make it look like a cast of thousands on stage.
Okay.
I always marveled at that. The way that she would stage things, she could make it look like there were, I mean, these weren't huge casts, but big enough for the small space. But yes, she had that ability. I tell people I got my PhD from Vanette. I do.
And what a way to get it.
What
right?
a way to
hands
get it.
on.
I'm telling you, hands on. Sometimes I used to think that Vanette should have a chessboard with little people so that she could do her staging and everything, because we rehearsed for hours and hours and hours, you know, in workshop situations. So, but yeah, I learned a lot from Vanette, and that was my introduction to theater in New York City, and it just extended my education.
How nice to have 2 little angels on your shoulders from the moment you came out of school.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. I don't think that, you know, that situation doesn't even exist anymore in New York.
No.
But yeah, because I went on to work at Amos with Rosetta Lenoir and the different companies, African-American companies that existed then, and the opportunities to workshop, showcase. And I will say in school at the Goodman, the two mentors for me were women.
Oh, okay.
There was a Dr. Bella Itkin and Estelle Spector. They were heavy influences on me.
And they were the ones who brought Vanette in as a guest artist.
Well, now Dr. Bella was an instructor. Estelle was the dance, did the dance component. I'm not sure if it was Dr. McGall, the dean, or how that went, but I will tell you that they brought Vanette there because I think there were about 6 of us who were black. And that was the first time they had that many black students at one time. I'm excited for people to hear all of this unpublished poetry. And I'm really excited for people to hear music from shows that never made it into Broadway or did not last very long on Broadway. There are no recordings of these songs, and those of us who were there when it happened, it will be familiar to them, and they will be so excited to have not heard this music for all these years,
right?
And new to other people. You know, when you're very close to people, familiarity can kind of take away, can kind of impair your vision.
Sure.
So with Micki, it's really amazing how prolific she was.
Yes.
And that she was also always pursuing as an actor. At one point, Micki and I actually, there was a period of years where I didn't see Micki, but then it turned out we belonged to the same church. So I saw her much more often, and at one point she was saying, you know, nobody thinks of me as an actor, and she wanted to perform.
Sure.
We actually have Micki Grant Performing Arts Ministry at our church.
Okay.
And we would do something during Black History Month, and Micki worked with us one year, and she was singing and trying to direct people to sing, you know, don't fight because I can't cope, and she would do all the words in between, and yeah, that never left her. But when she was, I think the project that she ended up doing is at the time that I was speaking about, she ended up doing Having Our Say, the national tour of Having Our Say, and she got to go to South Africa with that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she was very proud of that.
Okay.
Very proud of that. So for her to be so prolific, and so prolific as early as she was, and throughout. So our musical director is Tom Spahn, and our choreographer is Lakai Worrell. The cast is April Armstrong, Matelyn Alicia, Patrice Bell. This is like a gift with a big red bow on it that Liz Van Dyke, the producing artistic director at New Federal, has given to me, and I deeply appreciate it, and I am going to make it everything that I can be, that I can. Yeah, I'm so grateful and excited that she felt confident to put it in my hands.
And have a nice little run.
And have a nice little run.
Thank you for joining me for this edition of Backstage Pass with Leah Chang. Until next time.